Hi, welcome to Spooky Owls. My name's David Saunderson. Today we're back with Helen Bruce. We're talking about folklore in England, and one of the questions I had for Helen was I wanted to know about smudging. Now, apparently, it's not the right term to use. It's called smoke cleansing. Helen, you explain it all to us. What am I even talking about? What is smoke cleansing?
Hello. So, smoke cleansing is so popular. It's probably everyone knows actually what it is. They might have called it smudging. That's like quite a specific cultural term. So here in the UK, we kind of try and refer to it as smoke cleansing. And we have had a long tradition here as well of using smoke to purify the air. If you go back to, just burning pine to purify the air, even in sort of like very primitive medical settings, like pine was known to purify the air. And now we know that it does disinfect, literally. But, in a modern contemporary setting, a load of us probably use incense, really well known. We light, a nice little incense cone, we light an incense stick. But slightly deeper than that, we can also use smoke cleansing, not just to make our space smell good, but we can also use it with a little bit more of a spiritual intent to, cleanse our space as well.
I notice on paranormal investigations they often use sage when they're doing a cleansing. Tell us about that. Why do they use sage?
So sage, I've got an example here, I'll show you in a second. Sage is particularly associated with being really strongly spiritual cleansing. It's sort of become one of the most well-known, but it's by no means the only one that you can use. So I can show you some examples here.
Go for it.
See some in action.
Yes, that's what we're here for.
Yes.
Go for it.
Get excited. This is quite a large one.
Looks like a big cigarette, doesn't it? But anyway, that's a big smoke.
So this is a really lovely one that I bought. And as you can see, it's dried herbs. It's wrapped really tightly with red string. This is sage, which has actually also been infused with dragon's blood.
Okay. Is there asking questions? You don't make them yourself, or is it just easier to buy them?
I have made them. I'm going to show you one I've made myself.
Okay. All right. Next question. What is dragon's blood?
So it's a resin from a tree.
Okay.
Or a powder. You can get it in powder. And again, it's associated with protection. So this lovely one I bought is doubly protective. So as you can see, I'm just lighting the end with a lighter. And almost right away, we do get this lovely, lovely plume of smoke. And you can use this then, say you're going to purify a room. You're going to go around all the edge of the room and you're going to get this lovely smoke into all of the corners. And maybe you want to say a little mantra. You want to say like just a little sentence or even a word in your head or out loud as you go. So I tend to just say, this space is cleansed, this space is free of all negativity as I go around. But the thing to remember is if you're clearing out negative energy, brilliant, but open a window so that the negative energy can actually get out.
What does it smell like? What does sage smell like?
Sage smells amazing. How would you describe it? It's almost like an earthy, sweet smell.
So it's a nice smell. It's not something that's going to make your house smell horrible.
No. And I'll always laugh because, I've met a couple of people who hate the smell of sage. And someone once made the comment, if someone hates the smell of sage and sage gets rid of negativity,
That's all right. Makes you upset. So is that all sage, or do they wrap it up in something like? I'm saying it looks like a cigarette, but it's is that all sage? What is in? What is that?
This is all sage, dried and wrapped really tightly.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be all of the same herb, as I shall show you. You can mix them. This one actually, this is garden sage. And this is one I made myself. So here it is. Again, it's a bit of a broader leaf. It looks quite suspect again, I won't lie.
No, it's all right. It's a natural one. It's,
again, it's wrapped really tightly, it's dried, and you will light the end, and you'll be able to do exactly the same thing. And there's kind of a real value actually to taking the time and energy to making one of these yourself, you know. And also there's a big sustainability advantage of making it from, you know, garden sage that grows in your garden rather than something maybe that's been imported.
How long do they last? Because it doesn't seem like it's burning that quickly.
No, so they burn very slowly. You can see we've still got a really nice amount of smoke, and it does burn slowly. So you could get many, many uses if you're just going to sort of do one room or do your house. So yeah, because it's wrapped so tightly, the burn is really slow. So it's not something you're going to go through too quickly.
Okay. All right. And what kind of things do you use it for? Like, when was the last time you burnt one of those? What if we don't call it smudge stick anymore? What do we call it? What would you call it? You say smoke cleanser? What's it called?
Just a smoke cleanser, or like I might
Yep.
call it a sage, like wrapped sage, dried sage.
Yep.
The last time I like to use them to cleanse myself as well. So I can quickly show you how to do that if you like.
Yep. Go for it. Yep.
And this might be something if you come in from a bit of a hectic day, feeling a bit like heavy energy. It's quite a nice way to deal with it. So basically, very simply, I normally start on my chest. Just take a little moment to just ground myself, or place my feet just like a little way apart, bend my knees slightly, just nice and relaxed. And then, you know, just with the intention that I'm going to be cleansed, I'm going to feel nice and, you know, light energy. Basically, I'm going to just draw around myself with my little smoke cleansing stick. I'm doing my legs. There we go, get my little face. And then the other thing you can do, I've got this lovely owl feather. You can just use that just to waft the smoke onto you. I'm just sort of aiming a little bit at my heart space there and not setting myself on fire.
Yep. Now, one of the things we were saying, the reason you told me that we don't use the word smudge stick anymore because it's seen as an American term, and we try to call it a smoke cleanser. How long has it been used? Was this something that ancient people in Britain would have used?
Yeah, so we, to some extent, we know a little bit more about smoke cleansing or smudging in other cultures, but certainly from, you know, the evidence we do have, which is limited because, you know, use of organic matter doesn't really leave a trace. But from the little we do know, yes, we would have very much had a tradition here of, you know, burning certain woods that would release a smell, you know, and cleansing areas, like I said, with pine and other fragrant herbs that we have naturally growing in this country. So using something sort of akin to incense. I've got some lovely, so we can use these days our stick incense or this lovely loose incense, which I can show you on the little charcoal burner in a minute. But I certainly believe, and from speaking to various other people about it, I think there certainly would have been a tradition here of using a form of incense where you'd put herbs, you'd put resins and woods onto a fire in order to, you know, create a smell that was sacred, it was cleansing, or it just smelled, you know, lovely.
Okay, well that's a really nice introduction to smoke cleansing, and that's something I'm going to have a bit of a try. I might try to make my own and use some sage. I have to start growing it first. I think I might have to. Can you take it from the shops? Would it work if I went and bought some sage from the shops? What would that be like?
The only disadvantage I'd say, maybe you might not know what it had been treated with as when it was growing.
Yeah, that's true.
But certainly
Yes.
for a practice, I don't see why you couldn't
Yeah, it
Give
might
it a
be
go.
more expensive. It might be cheaper to go with your, however you bought it. It might be a better way than doing it from the shop. So, but it's
Well,
certainly something interesting. And it doesn't need to be sage. It's basically just anything that has a nice smell. But there's obviously different reasons behind different herbs that we might use for that. But if it was just for a nice cleansing type of thing, sage is as good as anything. Okay. See, we're learning things here on the Spooky Owls. So once again, Helen, it's been fantastic. If you've got any questions for us that Helen, a folklorist and author, can answer for you, please do get in touch. And until next time, I'm going to say stay spooky. I'm not going to start doing that. Just see you then. All right. See you. Bye-bye.
bye.